Fear is a basic human emotion. What frightens you more? The evil that you know, or the evil that you don't know? Do you know the true meaning of fear?
F.E.A.R, or First Encounter Assault Recon, is a first-person shooter released in 2005 by Vivendi Universal. F.E.A.R was developed by Monolith Productions. Featuring a blend of psychological horror and fast-paced action, F.E.A.R definitely stands out when talking about both horror games and first-person shooters. Before the year 2005, first-person shooters with horror themes were scarce. Sure, you had your Dooms and Quakes, but I think we can all agree that outside of Doom 3, those games have never truly scared us. Rather, they've been even funner due to their violent nature. Now, while F.E.A.R is certainly very fun due to its sheer violence factor, the fact that it draws most of its influence from Japanese horror films really sets it apart from your typical horror game, let alone a horror first-person shooter. In my opinion, F.E.A.R has a perfect balance between its action and its horror, all equating to an excellent game which was definitely worth the price I paid for it. To begin, F.E.A.R's story is very interesting to say the least. You play as Point Man, a member of a special ops group that deals with supernatural happenings called, you guessed it, First Encounter Assault Recon. The reason F.E.A.R has been called in is because a man named Paxton Fettel has established a telepathic link with a series of cloned super soldiers, and they have killed an entire building's worth of people. Fettel is tracked via satellite, and you're sent in to apprehend him, but of course, things are not this simple. Fettel continuously gets away, and the entire game is spent tracking him down while fighting the soldiers at his command. As if fighting large battalions of super soldiers and tracking this man down was not enough, meet Alma. Alma is a key character in the game who appears at random intervals to give you a good scare. Her importance in the plot isn't fully explained until later in the game, but that adds to her mystique because you know nothing about her, and her presence isn't explained or acknowledged by the other characters until the game is almost over. Now, I mentioned Doom earlier, and F.E.A.R is actually a lot like it. You see, Point Man, like Doom Guy, is a silent protagonist. For those of you who don't know, silent protagonists are those who lack any dialogue and thus any sort of personality. Games like Doom, F.E.A.R, Half-Life, and Unreal all have this in common. This is often a deliberate design choice meant to strengthen the feeling of immersion in a game, and it works quite amazingly in F.E.A.R. It's great in the combat, which I'll get to in a minute, but it really works anytime that Alma shows up. Because you are Point Man, everything in the game is basically happening to you. So when Alma shows up and pulls some of her supernatural bullshit, I mean cool powers, you're left to react to it completely alone and form your own opinion on whether or not you've been frightened. F.E.A.R's atmosphere is another thing which makes the game work so well. Often desolate, F.E.A.R creates a very realistic atmosphere. You can break windows at your discretion and tip over boxes or jugs which fall to the floor and make loud noises. Now, with Alma randomly appearing at any corner and the constant threat of Fettel soldiers, such an atmosphere blends in perfectly. Take for example after you encounter Alma. Since you don't know what could happen next and the game's atmosphere is dark, going back to explore what you just saw, which nearly always happens, is admittedly pretty scary, especially when you bump into one of the cabinets and something falls. Tense would be the ideal word to describe F.E.A.R's atmosphere, and although half of that would be due to Alma, the other half is due to F.E.A.R's amazing combat. The creators of F.E.A.R set out on a mission to combine John Woo-style action sequences with Japanese horror films. Needless to say, they succeeded with the latter, but they also achieved amazing emulation with the former. John Woo action sequences usually feature slow motion, akimbo handguns, and tracking shots. F.E.A.R's combat is quite simple yet so fun. Everything in a level is fluid, so you often walk into environments and get into firefights as you would in real life. F.E.A.R's physics are great for this because every single battle in the game feels different. There's usually dust everywhere, gigantic holes in the walls from your bullets hitting them, shreds of paper flying around, and shards of glass falling on the floor, which all come to life with F.E.A.R's beautiful sound design. While we're on the topic of sound, F.E.A.R's voice acting, when actually featured, isn't half bad.
Is this who you're looking for? She smells nice.
Back to the combat aspect of the game, F.E.A.R has a slow motion feature which often helps clear enemies when they come in large numbers, and when there's more than one section of enemies to clear. It also makes the game look and feel that much more fun, which is also helped by F.E.A.R's melee moves. Even without slow motion, the firefights are extremely fun due to F.E.A.R's brilliant AI. Sometimes it's hard to distinguish F.E.A.R's AI and real people because they act just like that, real people. They fly through windows, they take cover behind large objects, they throw grenades your way when you try to take cover, they communicate with each other, they notice if you're using a flashlight, and will notice you if you make a lot of noise. Essentially, it's like playing multiplayer. You have to think of ways to outsmart them, and even though slow motion helps, the AI in this game is almost always smart enough to get a good amount of damage on you before you take them down. I personally think that the soldiers in heavy armor are the smartest enemies, and they will fuck you up badly every single time you meet. Now, fear not. F.E.A.R doesn't starve you for health. There's always a medkit lying around and health boosters as well as reflex boosters that up your overall amount of each respective quantity and really help you go the distance. Although F.E.A.R may feature a limited amount of weapons, ammo is usually abundant for the weapons that really matter. You can hold 3 weapons in F.E.A.R at a time. During my playthrough, I really wished I could hold 10 weapons at a time, but I realized that this would make me invincible. The Type 7 particle weapon literally turns people into skeletons and is a one-hit kill weapon for 90% of the enemies. The M50 repeating cannon kills enemies without any difficulty. Now, don't even get me started on the ASP rifle, the HV penetrator, and the multi-rocket launcher. All these weapons, combined with the slow motion, would turn you into a killing machine, and this entire game would be cleared without a problem, no matter how smart the AI is. However, due to the 3-weapon limit, it forces you to come up with different strategies to take out enemies because not every weapon serves the same purpose due to the differing strengths of the enemies. If I had any problems with F.E.A.R, it's that the game seems too dark. Literally, too dark. You have a flashlight, but it only helps when you're really close to things. Now, this is probably the point. When you see Alma in the game, you don't want to turn off your flashlight at any point because there's the chance she'll pop out of the dark and scare the shit out of you. At the same time, if you go around with your flashlight on all the time like I did, you're more easily spotted by enemies and it'll cost you health and ammo because you can't get the drop on them. F.E.A.R is also quite tiring, though this is probably due to how fun the game is. There's a problem with the audio recordings on the phone. You use the recordings to piece together the story via messages that people have left others. The volume is quite low on these, and I had to enable subtitles just to make out what the hell people were saying. Another problem most people had with F.E.A.R when it originally came out in 2005 was that it needed such a high-end PC in order to be played. Nowadays, F.E.A.R's graphics look outdated and I maxed out the game quite easily, but there was a problem with lag that was caused by my Logitech mouse. F.E.A.R doesn't like Logitech devices, and if you've ever had this problem, I'll provide a link to the solution in the description. It's an easy fix, and once solved, the game looks great on max settings and runs very solid, as the game never crashed for me at all. To date, I've put 15.3 hours into F.E.A.R according to Steam, and the phrase, "never a dull moment" when describing a game has never resonated so much with me until now. I seriously can't recall a single time I was bored while playing F.E.A.R. Whether it's Alma or Federal soldiers, the game creates a very tense atmosphere where anything can happen at any time, so you're always on your toes about everything. you don't know what to expect when you turn a corner, so it's hard to not always be alert when playing the game. Finally, and I think this is worth mentioning, but F.E.A.R's horror is entirely psychological. Without spoiling anything, Alma never really shows you her face like Slender Man would when he's about to kill you. Alma doesn't appear on the screen and try to jump scare you like the animatronics in Five Nights at Freddy's. She shows up and disappears as quickly as she appeared. Her origin or what she isn't elaborated upon until much later in the game, meaning that your mind has to fill in the gaps. Despite never attacking you, she comes off as an unkillable threat that shouldn't be fucked with. Because of everything I've mentioned, from Alma's horror to the game's combat, it's not hard to see why F.E.A.R was so successful. It spawned 2 expansion packs, 2 sequels, and a free-to-play game called F.E.A.R Online that was recently released. I picked up F.E.A.R for $9.99 on Steam, but seeing as how it's October 31st and Steam's Halloween sale has to have started up by now, I'd be surprised if the game wasn't up for sale. So my final rating for this game, and what you should be telling it as well, is... take my money. Now I'm off to go buy the F.E.A.R sequels. I hear they're not that great, but hey, if they're on sale on Steam, does it really matter? Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed Horrible Halloween 2014, and I hope that everyone has a happy Halloween themselves.